human resources related. I'm the liaison with our Army Human Resources Command and other organizations like that. I like to really talk to prior service individuals because that's part of my mission. Is I work with these people that have served prior service, and now they might consider, coming back into service. They might have been active duty, for a few years and then left and decided they want to come back or use, RTC programs and contract as a officer. So that's kind of what my goal is career management.
Right. And so Sergeant Tovar, just a quick intro. Where are you from? Might I ask? I know, but the students might be interested. Right.
I was born and raised in a small town called Sebastian, Texas, in the Rio Grande Valley, sir. And I made my way up to Houston up later through the years. But I went to the University of Texas Pan American when it was Pan American, and proud graduate. So what?
All right, awesome. So definitely appreciate that. Sergeant Tovar is a wealth of knowledge. Sergeant Tovar and I've known each other about 15 or 20 years. Wow, somebody's getting older. But anyway, so I've seen him help, tremendous amounts of soldiers. And if you have friends and other students at your formations at your college that are, thinking about getting back in, Sergeant Tovar's the guy. And, Mr. Gomez has my number and in Zoom and all that stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna shut up. And next is Staff Sergeant Maya, and she'll tell you a little bit about herself. I think she's from Louisiana. I'll find out in a minute.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Staff Sergeant Maya. I'm actually from London, England. I've been in the Army for 13 years, and of the last 10, I've been in the Army Reserve. I actually am fortunate enough to be the former S1 NCO for 1158 in Conroe. So I worked at the unit taking care of HR and admin and pay for about 3.5 years until I left and became a recruiter. And I've been an Army recruiter for the last 1.5 years. So I work for Recruiting Command. So for those of you who don't have enough time to commission through Cadet Command, maybe you started ROTC late and you don't have enough time, I would actually be the one that would help you guys get in. I have been in recruiting for 18 months. I'm actually the #1 reserve recruiter in the country. And I also primarily recruit for aviation. So my goal is to find young women and men who want to come into the aviation program, who want to fly. And I'm specifically looking to put people in my Conroe unit, but we also have one at Fort Hood, Texas in Killeen, and we have another one in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I give people information about aviation and how they can reach their aviation goals and potentials through the reserve, especially for those of you who are looking to become commercial pilots one day. We have other reserve aviation sister units in Florida and California and Colorado and Kentucky. So I can help any of you come in and actually go to any of those units. We have a really great program in the Army Reserve, which pretty much, if you meet the qualifications to fly, which is a Part 1, Part 2 flight physical, and another test that's different from our initial entry test, it is really easy to get in. We are probably the easiest service to get people to flight school once you pass those 3 things. So if any of you have questions for me, or you don't meet enough time to commission through Cadet Command, there are other routes of getting you to one of the aviation units and getting you qualified and putting you and making you a pilot. But I said, outside of initial entry, for the most of you who have done ROTC for a certain amount of time, I could give you information about the unit and what the unit's like and help you get into the unit itself, but I wouldn't be able to bring you into the Army.
Sarmaya, right. Great stuff. I do have one question. The audience that we're speaking to, is it mostly MS1s, 2s, 3s, or 4s?
It's MS3.
MS3. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, that's great. Great audience. So here's the neat thing about my role as the quote recruiter. I don't get paid a dime, depending on, if 50 of you join, if 0 of you join. My paycheck is not based on that. I am here to provide a service. I'm here to provide information because I want to ensure that, again, the Army formation looks just like you all, looks just like me, Sergeant Maya, Sergeant Tovar, all of us. I want to ensure that this aviation thing is not a secret. it's something that we can all appreciate and enjoy. So, and we're here to help with that. We're definitely here to help you guys. So, and again, as I think Sergeant Maya said, and is that, we have units everywhere. The Army Reserve Aviation Command is headquartered in Fort Knox, Kentucky. However, during this pandemic, we all do battle assemblies virtually. And for example, here I am at my job, I'm at work. And so you got me till 9 o'clock, and then I got to go upstairs and do work. And, but I don't get paid to quote recruit. Oh, we got 3 people and we're going to give you a bonus. No, there's no bonus for me. This is just information to help you guys. If you want to be an aviator, I would love to have you. I'd love to see you at our units. And that's what my goal is, whether it be reserve, guard, or active duty. And hopefully it's reserve. And if not, active duty. At some point, my boss, he was texting me here a minute ago. He's overseas, as I mentioned, I think to Mr. Gomez. My boss is a Delta Airlines pilot, and he travels travels the world quite frequently. And so I don't know what, he told me he's going to be out of town. He's trying to get on, and he may, he's out of the country right now, but he's still trying to get on. He's texting here. So there's a great amount of opportunities in Army Reserve Aviation. So you can pass it. So you 3s, you're at a pivotal position. You can pass it along to 2s and 1s, and even your peers in these other classes. Hey, look, have you thought about this Army thing to pay for college? That's what I did back, a long time ago. So I'll also, I'm going to pass along at some point here in the very near future to Mr. Gomez. And I guess Sergeant DeJesus?
Yes, sir.
We have, right. Okay. So we have Army Reserve. We have guaranteed Reserve Forces duty scholarships available. So we're going to get that to you guys real soon. And then we're going to get, then there's other scholarships. We have 2 types of scholarships. So we'll get that information out to you soon. And all the other stuff, Mr. Gomez, that you're talking about, all other stuff that you're talking about, we're going to, we're trying to make that mission a go in March. We definitely want to bring down as many Black Hawks as we can and get y'all on there. So I'm going to hold on there and I'll just leave it there, because I'm also getting, hey, sorry, Maya, I got you. I'm also getting requests from other universities, because I reached out to every university in the state of Texas. Mr. Gomez jumped right on that. And then I'm getting also requests from universities in Louisiana. So, you guys are going to be the first, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. So Sergeant Maya is going to jump in real quick, and then I'm going to tell you my quick aviation story, and you can ask all the questions you want from there. All right, hang on. Here's Sergeant Maya.
Hi, just to come back in real fast. So for how many participants are on the phone, I just want to give you a little bit of knowledge. For those of you who are looking at the reserve, obviously you're looking at doing this part-time. And if you're on this call, you have some interest in aviation. So this is one of the coolest things about coming into the Army Reserve as an aviator. The FAA requirements to become a pilot is 1,500 commercial flying. You have to have 1,500 hours to become a commercial pilot. That's a lot of hours. And if any of you have done research into becoming a pilot, it is very expensive to get to those hours and to get that training time in. Once you come into the Army Reserve and you get through our flight school at Fort Rocket, Alabama, and you start flying, once you hit 700 military flying hours with us for Rotary, you can go to a 250-hour flying instructor course, which most of our company commanders are actually flight instructors who already work for United and JetBlue Express and Mesa and the regional airlines. You can do a 250-hour course with them, and we have to pay for that on the reserve side, and you can then start flying commercially. So what would take you 1,500 flying hours on your own dime in the civilian world, we will get you there in 700 hours, and then you just need 250 hours of training in a fixed wing. We have company commanders right now who are flying for regional airlines, making a lot of money, who have only been flying for maybe 3-4 years at a time. So if aviation is your passion and your goal, we can get you to your endpoint desire and those major airlines a lot faster than any other instructor, flight school, in the country. And as I said, for us, unlike the Air Force and the Navy, if you wear glasses, that is okay. You can still fly with the Army Reserve, as you can see. The Air Force, the Navy, they do not allow those things. There is no waiver for that, but we do have waivers for that. We also allow you to fly if you have PRK surgery, if you're someone that's already had that done. That's a different version of LASIK. So this is a really great, outstanding opportunity, and one of the fastest ways to get into aviation if you are interested in going that route.
And we also have the support branches as well.
Yeah, exactly. And Sergeant Tovar is, and again, that's why I have these folks on the call. They're the experts, and I'm not. I'm the generalist. And they definitely, we have tons of opportunities here in the great state of Texas to get you guys. If I don't know if you guys are who's interested in going on reserve forces, you're going to be reserve. We definitely can take care of you. These two folks on the call can definitely take care of you. And someone may be in a unit that's not a reserve aviation unit. We can also help with that as well. So here's my quick story. So I joined in 1987, as I said. Somebody named Sergeant Maya told me she was born in 1987. It's okay. So I was a reservist, paying for college. Then Then I switched over to the Louisiana National Guard because they were paying for college. Just like, the benefits now are exponentially better than they were when I went to college. So then, when I graduated and commissioned as an Army lieutenant, I knew I wanted to be an aviator a little too late. That's why I'm here right now. That's why I'm passionate about this right now, because for you guys, the threes, the twos, the ones, I want you to, if you think you want to be an aviator, let's get at it. I didn't have that. I didn't have the knowledge until I was at camp, and it was a little too late because I didn't get to take the flight physical. However, as soon as I got to Armor OBC, I took the FAST tests and all that stuff, the flight physical, and passed all of that. And within 2 years, not long after I gave up my tank platoon on active duty, I switched over to aviation. So I've flown a multiple 4 or 5 different types of aircraft. Let's see. The only ones you from your era you would know is obviously the Apache. So I'm an A model Apache guy. I'm a D model Apache guy. I've flown both Apaches, both models. I have been so fortunate that I was selected for a foreign exchange tour in 2007 to fly with the Germans in Germany in their helicopters. So I have some Bokolov time. So that's and not, I don't know if there's anybody else around that, because it's a very select group, so you apply for it, with your evaluations, obviously, just like your grades, your evaluations, and then your letters of recommendation and support from your supervisor. So I was able to do that. Had wonderful 3 weeks in Germany, absolutely wonderful time. Got a very awesome German flight jacket. I don't hardly ever wear it, and don't let nobody touch it. So it's a great thing. This Army life has been so good to me, and I'm proud to see all of you young folks there, so hopefully in 18 months, if I don't make Colonel, I can go ahead and sit down somewhere and continue to enjoy retirement. So, but flight school is perhaps one of the hardest things I've ever done. And I'm so proud of myself for having done it. I didn't come from a family of economic means. That's why everything I had to do it my way. I had to do it quickly. I couldn't depend on anybody. And, I'm the first in my family, and some others have, now since then tried to follow that. But I'm the first in my family to join. Well, I'm sorry, other than my parents, my dad, but the siblings and stuff, so a lot of the cousins now they're trying to figure out, wow, why is he so successful? Why did he able to get what he got? And so one thing I always tell young people, this uniform, which I'm not wearing, it's in my truck, right? My uniform, my experiences as a Army person, active duty, National Guard, and Reserve, have done all 3 branches, has enabled me to be what I am today and to be as successful as I am today. I've worked in several career fields because of my extensive background. I have a top secret background. I'm literally sitting in again, I work for the Department of Justice. I'm not going to tell you which branch, but again, to work here, you can't have a secret. There's no such thing as a secret. Everything is top secret. So my Army Reserve life, my teachings, my great NCOs who said, no, sir, don't do this, do it that way. No, sir, that's incorrect, but I ain't going to embarrass you in public. Let's do it the right way, and yeah. So that's why I am a success to this day. And that's why I tell I constantly, and I misspoke a little earlier when I said that I always talk to my first sergeant and my sergeant major. I actually speak to a lot of my soldiers that I've worked with over my 33 years, because, I made them look good and they made me look good. They stopped me from doing something that was less than intelligent. And I hope that I was able to reciprocate. So flight school is a little different from when I went to school. But when I went to school, we were training on the Huey, which shows my age. And then you track from there. And because I was going to reserve, later on, I decided to go to the Apache course. Absolutely wonderful helicopter, the best attack helicopter in the world, bar none. Now they're on the E model Apache, which I have not qualified in, but I think it's a 4-week course. And if I, but I have no interest in the Apache as far as that. I've done everything. I've done one tour flying and one tour non-flying. So my first tour, I was, again, fortunate. And my boss, who was also my friend, he's traveling. He and I went together to crit Fob Spiker. So I was in Fob Spiker in 2005. And in the period of 8 months, I flew 277 combat hours, which that's a 2-year. That's what, so 140 hours a year is what we're supposed to fly. I flew 277 in about 8 months. So I was in the cockpit all the time, so you hear, commissioner officers don't get to fly a lot. And that's true sometimes. But again, I was fortunate. And then as you heard Sergeant Maya, all of the company commanders in the Conroe unit just north of here where I work are instructor pilots. So the instructors do fly a lot. So there are opportunities for the commission folks, you guys, the future commission officers, right, to fly. And Sergeant Maya talked about the FAA license. I'm a FAA commercially licensed helicopter pilot. When she talked about the programs to fly for I had 4 job offers before the pandemic to fly for the airlines. Now I have none, but I still have my job here at the Department of Justice. And so as soon as the aviation industry comes back, because it has to, because it will, then I'll re-engage those airlines and see if they need me to fly again. So I enjoy what I do. And again, where you guys are, you're in an enviable spot, because there's so many opportunities for you young folks that hey, I'm going to do this Army thing, but I only want to do reserve. Okay, well, that's great. Some of you want active duty. That's great too. And guard. But I found my greatest successes in active duty and reserve. So, but
Colonel, can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sergeant Tova right here. Hey, I do want to address something, because there is a general mindset that, the reserve is just 1 week in a month, they're weekend warriors and that kind of stuff. And that is just totally false. Army aviation is huge. We're busy. We have real missions. But we also have different programs with Army Material Command, Acquisition, Army Corps of Engineer, FEMA. The military is the largest employer in the nation. So there's all kinds of programs that are out there. So I want to address that 1 week in a month, weekend warrior kind of thing, because it is not true.
Yeah, can I just kind of come into that too? So what he's saying, so as I said earlier at the beginning of the call, I've been in the Army for 13 years, of which 10 of those years have been in the Army Reserve. Of those 10 years, I have been activated for 8 of those years. While I loved my time on active duty and working for the regular Army, I have actually gotten way more out of my reserve career than I was able to out of my active. I hold 5 MOSs. I even hold an Army Reserve civilian job that is on hold while I'm on active duty, which I can still double dip and get extra pay for. And I get to go back and forth. My month of October, now obviously I'm enlisted, so my pay unfortunately is not as going to great as what your pay will eventually be. But my month of October, I clear $11,500 after taxes between my Army Reserve job as a civilian and my active duty job as a recruiter. But said the reserve has given me the best of both worlds. I've been able to have control over my career, where I go, where I want to go. I've been able to reclass and get different jobs that I wouldn't have been able to do had I been on active duty. And I have been able to be activated for the entire time of my reserve career almost. So, a lot of people just think weekend warriors, you're not going to get much out of your career. The reserve has so much opportunity. You can go and work anywhere in the world. We have missions that you can volunteer for all over the world: Germany, Belgium, Australia. 2 years ago, I went to work for a 3-star general in Fort Sam, and I was there in San Antonio, Texas for 12 months. In that 12 months, I got to travel the world with that general and go to all these amazing places that I would never have been able to do had I not volunteered to go on active orders. And I was doing a job that wasn't even one of my 5 jobs. It just happened to be a job I volunteered for. Not all of our reserve jobs, we are held to our MOSs or our branches. You can actually volunteer to do something completely outside of your area of expertise if they have those positions available. And what Sergeant Tovar said, for those of you looking to go into the reserve, maybe you're not looking for aviation, we have other opportunities in other units. My civilian job is in Austin with psychological operations. They are the only airborne unit in Texas. They jump out of planes every other month. That's more than active duty is required to jump. So there's so much opportunity there. You just have to kind of, ask the questions. And especially for those of you who are more interested, obviously we're on a Zoom meeting and there's lots of you, so we can give you our information. And if you want to reach out afterwards and ask us additional questions. One other things I will tell you for those of you on the call looking at the Reserve and National Guard, know with the Reserve, if one of you come in and you decide to get a job in oil and gas and that job takes you to North Dakota, you can transfer to North Dakota. You are not locked into Texas. For those of you looking at the Guardway, if you join the Texas National Guard, understand that if you leave the state, it is hard to get out-of-state transfers because you belong to the state of Texas, and you will have to come back each month to drill here. That is not the same with the Army Reserve. So, those are things that you should weigh out when you're making this decision of where you want to go if you do want to be Reserve or National Guard. And one last thing, for those of you who do come into the reserve, at any point during your time in, we always do get calls to active duty. There are missions that you can do on. So just coming into the reserve does not mean you're always going to be a reservist. If you change your mind later on and you say, hey, maybe I do want to try the active duty thing, there are ways to switch over.
A great point. Thank you. And again, now you see why I have these wonderful folks on the call. So again, aviation, active duty reserve, that's kind of what we're experts at. We talk about it because I honestly and candidly would love to see as many of you folks that are interested in becoming aviators do so. This is a wonderful opportunity. Again, I've had such a good time. So as Sergeant Maya talked about, it's the reserve thing. If you talk about, I as a reservist, I flew 2 days a week in addition to my full-time job, which is not common. I flew the Apache. I would fly every Tuesday and Thursday night after work. I worked at Hobby Airport in South Houston. I would leave work, go up to Conroe, pre-flight and take off. I had a backseater. And so I flew 2 nights a week, which is why I was able to get the amount of flights